Yeah, and Bill Levitt, for those who don't know, was the man who really started the Berklee guitar program in Boston in the 1950s. So he's considered to be kind of like an Andre Segovia figure for commercial guitar players. And, out here in California, Perry and I went to USC, and, Duke Miller and Paul LaRose, we heard Lee Ritenour in season 1 mention those guys, and Mitch Holder also mentioned those guys as being kind of the gurus out here. And, they influenced Howard Roberts to kind of start the guitar school, GIT, and every school kind of had its method, but Levitt kind of has become the one that seems to be the industry standard, because we learned it at USC, they had the Levitt books floating around, and a lot of colleges now, that's kind of the standard sight reading book that they use. And the thing I love about it is that he sets up volume 1 so basic: first position, first 3 frets, no sharps, no flats, quarter notes, whole notes, and half notes. And by the time you get to volume 3, you're reading chord shapes, you're reading multiple guitar lines, grand staff. As you mentioned, Perry, reading bass clef is so important. So I think every listener out there should go pick up that book. It's like $25 on Amazon. And another one that he wrote that I really like for sight reading is Melodic Rhythms for Guitar.
Yeah.
And the thing that's great about that is that Levitt divides it up with picking. So he says, okay, we're going to pick subdivisions in a bar of 4/4 with down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, so that the rests match the picking. And that's something that we can't get out of a lot of just general music type of notation. Us guitarists kind of have to unlock that. Do you find that, Perry, too, when you're sight reading something that isn't necessarily guitar repertoire, that we sort of lock in if we're doing alternate picking, lock the meter in with the picking that we're using?
Yeah, that's a huge help when it comes to trying to get through a piece when you're sight reading. I have that exact book, John. One of them I was going to share with you, but I think this is the one you're talking about, the Melodic Rhythms for Guitar. A great book for sight reading. And it's also, you'd probably agree here, but it's also just a good way to warm up too. Like if you're just trying to get into the zone for a gig you got coming up, or keep your chops up for the day, sight reading some stuff is a good way to get your fingers loose and challenge yourself. So
yeah, exactly. And a good way to sort of flex a muscle on a different instrument, right?
Yeah.
Which for me, I'm primarily playing electric archtop guitars and acoustic guitar. So picking up the classical guitar can be an awesome way to sort of humble yourself and start the day. And I don't know if you guys have done any classical guitar sight reading methods, but my very favorite one is Solo Guitar Playing by Frederick Node. And this was a book that Jim Smith, our mentor at USC, who was kind of a guru of classical guitar, said was the greatest sight reading book ever for classical guitar. And there's all sorts of etudes. In fact, I photocopied one.
Oh,
Sorry,
God.
Frederick Node. I hope you're not rolling over in your grave. I PDF'd it and scanned it to Perry. And hey, Perry, why don't you sight read that for the listeners right now on your ES 175? Again, Node rolling over in his grave.
I
with
know.
that, but
I'm gonna do
Then
it.
you can sell it as an NFT.
Yeah.
Do you want me to share a screen here? Should I do that?
Whatever floats your boat. I mean, most of our listeners are checking out the podcast, but if you subscribe to us on Patreon, you can see what Perry's about to show
You
everybody.
dig?
So
Okay.
hint.
Here it is. All right. Okay, here we go. All right. I'm going to just jump right into it. Wish me
Let's go for
luck. Oh, God.
Remember, go slow.
Go slow. That's what she said.
Hey.
Perfect. 100%.
Chloe. Yeah, I mean that
And-
wasn't too hard. I mean that's a great exercise for sure.